The Doits, the Doits death penalty. We're in the trial with the Julio, the Doits. They right now they're going to court to see they're gonna get the death penalty, y'all. Let's see what they're talking about. Let's see if they found guilty to get the death penalty. Right now they found guilty of murder. Let's see if they're gonna find guilty to get the death penalty. I call them the Doits because they were the DA called them the Doits because Young and made a song about do it, so I call them the Doits.
So we'll talk about that a little bit. We're also going to look at some statistics on the cost difference between life in prison versus what it costs to prosecute a death penalty case and keep somebody on death row. So I thought that'd just be some interesting food for thought. And we will reserve all of that for lunch. So, and by lunch, that's like, they typically go on their lunch breaks around noon, and this is Eastern time. So that'd be like 3-4 hours, depending on if they go on time. Oh, and one other thing from the end of the day yesterday, especially for anyone who got out when the witnesses left for the day, there was a little bit of a tiff at the end. Prosecutor Scott Harmon was upset because Deborah Toomey, attorney for Davion Murphy, even though she disclosed to him that, look, we're going to rely on mental mitigation. We're going to have some experts come in, some doctors. One's going to talk about a prescription. The other's going to talk about PET scans. And we're arguing that one of the mitigating factors for Davion is, he's got some issues that keep him out of the right state of mind. He's not in control of his emotions, including head injuries from car accidents, fights, and other things while he was still in like younger stages, developmental stages. But Scott Harmon said she didn't specify that it wasn't just PET scans. It's also MRIs that are coming in. And because there's a difference in an expert's qualifications, the expert witness at the state went to look at Davion's expert witness's reports and whatever they were going to be speaking to. They only sought an expert witness that could speak to PET scans, not an MRI. So the state was in a panic and was telling the court, I'm really disappointed in this late discovery. She knows better. So there was a little bit of spice at the end of the day yesterday regarding specific disclosure of the subject matter from the experts. So, and Sinister says, I'm not buying that about Davion. Do we need to do a poll on Davion's brain? When he puts on the witnesses, we'll do one. We'll do a poll. Hey, Toom says, Toomey gotta be your cousin. Is it because of the name rhyming? Maybe it's Toomey. Yeah, T Wood says, I usually be watching while working, so more listening. You don't always see what's on screen, but finally saw the shooting video, all that surveillance from the hotel and the Tesla. And T Wood says, I kind of see why this is a DP case. I don't agree with DP, but I see why. And that is specifically one of the aggravating factors for the three who, there's the three contemporaneous convictions. Right? So because the shots were going all over and three other victims were also hit and 3 of these individuals have convictions at the same time as this capital murder conviction, those 3 are facing an aggravated factor of a contemporaneous conviction for violence to another person. But there's also another aggravating factor that applies to all 4, and it's the idea that they were recklessly shooting and they could have caused harm to all of the hotel guests and just had a complete disregard for it. So what you're seeing here, the way you're perceiving it, like, oh, I see why they're spraying around, anybody could have gotten hit. That's actually one of the 4 aggravating factors. So Granddad Gaming says, I think he's not the sharpest tool in the shed. It reminds me of that All-Star song. All right. So once they start speaking, let me know if the volume's good. We can turn it up.
Okay, state's here, defense counsel's here. We have an issue with one of the jurors I need to discuss. So I'm going to ask that this not be broadcast.
No.
Confidential.
They kicked us out, Court. Everybody put a saxophone in the chat. Somebody lip read. I'm so nosy. I want to know so badly. Hey, get the saxophones going. And maybe it's just like scheduling. Maybe they can't do it. Like a health problem. Ooh. They look like they're conferring with other counsel for other defendants.
I'm sorry, but Sean Gett on it like
Maybe we'll
he
get to hear
guilty,
the
Jay.
arguments.
Sean Gett on it
All
like
right,
he
guys, if you're
guilty.
just getting in here, there's a juror issue, and we don't know what it is. We do not know what it is. And can they use one of the alternates? Remember, I think we only have one alternate. So if we swap out an alternate, nothing else can happen.
Sean, the one right here with his lawyer, he the one that was right there with he the one that shot Julio about a couple of months ago. He shot about a couple of years ago. He shot Julio. I don't feel sorry for him because he already killed somebody in Mississippi. He took 2 lives before he did Julio wrong. He took 2 lives. So why y'all feel sorry for him? That little boy know he think he's slick. He want to come out there innocent look. Like I ain't did. I'm gonna be at the jury. Like I'm sorry. Nah, you ain't sorry. You killed that man. You
If we
want to
run
do
out
what
of
you do.
jurors during a penalty
You to do
phase,
it.
does that mean that they need to redo the whole trial?
And poor Rashard. Rashard, he just like.
I mean, that's a long road ahead. I mean, we'd have to swap out this alternate and then lose another juror.
That's what they call Rashard.
But typically, if you can't make it through a trial with a full jury,
look how he acting.
A mistrial would be called, and it would be for a manifest necessity. So it's like a reason that none of the parties cause, none of the parties can do anything about it, and we need to start over. We just have to. So it'd be a mistrial without prejudice, which means a trial can happen again. And I've never thought about what happens if we get through the guilt phase, but then we're in the penalty phase where we still need a jury, and then something goes wrong. And just pondering, I mean, they've only got to make it through a few more days. They said this was going to be a pretty short presentation, so I feel like it would need to be user memo, because think about how much they're not talking about in this penalty phase, because this jury has already seen the guilt phase of the trial. So, I mean, you'd really need to redo all of that to have someone come in and make a fair assessment and like a penalty phase is really a bifurcation, right? That's why it's still one jury sat for the whole thing. It's just they bifurcate, they split the trial into 2 phases, guilt and the penalty. So I don't think you can just tag team in a jury that hasn't been part of
Him right here.
The guilt
Guess
phase,
he
and that's also
was.
why the
Oh man,
juror
I
that
gotta
they're
find
kept as an
somebody. She
alternate
stopped
for the
talking for.
penalty
Wait a minute.
phase has to
What's
be
up real quick?
available and can't be talking about this case.
Somebody else, cause she talking. I'm sorry. Let me do somebody else. Find somebody else in the trial.
That's a lot. It's like they were just talking about, oh, we only need one alternate. Here we go. Here we go.
Oh, Shaq got right to take the stand. That's what he talking about. He took the stand. Look.
Imagine being able to build an app
Well,
with your
Charlie, you
name
took
on
the stand.
it, just by thinking about it. Meet Base 44.
Right here, look.
Say your name for the record, sir, and spell your name for a court reporter.
My name's Sean Gathright, SEANGATHRIGHT.
Sean
I was
Cat
born
right
on
took the
October 20th,
stand.
2005.
Bro, you still guilty, dog.
Heard
You still
people
guilty.
speak here today on your behalf and yesterday, and I know that you wanted to address the court and the jury. So I would like to ask you what you want the jury to know.
I just want to address the court today, and, you know, I'm not here to dispute anything. I'm just here to be a man and take responsibility and express my feelings about what, you know, this whole situation. You know, that's what I plan on doing.
Okay. And how do you feel? What?
I feel very remorseful, you know. This is a terrible situation. It's been a
How you
traumatic
feel
experience.
mournful and you
You
shot
know,
somebody? Well, you killed somebody way before Julio. So you feel
Let me
mournful
ask
about
you
that
this.
person?
So
And you killed
how
somebody
old were
right
you when
after
you
that
were
by
arrested?
his girlfriend
I
too.
was
So
18
you
years
feel
old.
mournful about that boy? Man, stop
We
that
heard that you had
shit, bro.
started some
Stop
college,
it. You
obviously, but
guilty.
didn't get very far, right?
right.
What have you done since you've been in jail? Is there programs? Are there things that you can do there?
So, you know, I've gotten into programs. I've also, you know, I grew up, you know, in church and, you know, in a Christian household. So I refocused my, you know, life to Christ, and, you know, I've taken a lot of religious programs. I've read the Bible from cover to cover. I've tried to, you know,
Don't
share
every killer
some
do that? Y'all already go
word,
to
and, you
jail.
know,
What
we
they
have
do?
prayer circles in
They
the
go
jail
to
and
the
stuff
hole, they
like
read
that.
the Bible and all
I've led
that,
a
right?
couple, you know, prayer circles, and
Okay? All right.
I've tried to, you know, kids around my age or, you know, younger, you know, since I'm 20 years old now, when you turn 18, you know, you go to the adult pods and stuff like that. So if I see somebody who I see, you know, has a lot of potential and has a chance to keep them from, you know, basically being able to be corrected at this opportunity and not come back, you know, I try to take them under my wing. As you see, I have a lot of resources and a lot of family that love me, and they've even, you know, asked me like, hey, is there anybody in there who doesn't have somebody like that, who, you know, could we send them some money, like, you know, anything like that. So I've tried to, you know, be a vessel for God to pour over my blessings into those
Man, they're
around me.
starting that boy.
We heard
He
from
was the
Mr.
big dog.
Benasta,
They're
who said
starting
that,
that
you know,
boy.
in prison that
They're
there is
starting.
opportunities at times to be a mentor, or you do orientations and peer-to-peer things like that. Is that something that you'd be interested in doing?
Of course, you know, I definitely want to, you know, try my absolute best to course correct anybody from falling down a path that they don't have to take, especially the youth. I feel like that's my calling that God has put on my heart to, you know, be a mentor to the youth and be a positive influence in this world.
What about those relationships? Like you said, you have a lot of people. Are you able to maintain those relationships now?
Yes. So, I mean, everybody who I, you know, maintain a relationship with wasn't able to all be here today or, you know, even testify. But, you know, I talk to them daily, weekly, bi-weekly. You know, I cherish my supporters very deeply, and I want to maintain a relationship with them for the rest of my life.
And I know, you know, we're not going to talk about the case itself, right? But you said that you were taking accountability, you felt remorseful. Tell us what you mean by that and what statement you want to make.
To the victim's family, you know, I want to send my deepest condolences and my, you know, I understand that it's hard losing a child, a best friend, a brother, a cousin. And for that, I just cannot say sorry enough. You know, I feel terrible about the situation, but I'm a firm believer that God can use anything for good that the devil wanted for bad. And so I am grateful for the people I've met, for the lessons that I've learned, for just this experience in general, because it's one that I'll never forget, and it's going to shape the rest of my life.
Sounds like there's that saying.
I don't believe in that,
Lemons out of lemonade.
When you say 3 people lives,
Lemonade out of lemons.
like when you take 3 people lives, like
it sounds to me
y'all don't
like
know, this
you are
man
going
killed
to
somebody
try
in
and
Mississippi.
make the best of a
He killed somebody right after
situation.
that,
Does
and
that sound about
Isaiah's
right?
girlfriend
Of course.
cul-de-sac, like he
Are
killed
you gonna
somebody
continue
right
to
after
do
that.
that?
Of course,
Then he
I'm
shot
gonna
Julio Furio a
try
couple
to,
of months,
you
a
know,
couple of years ago.
continue a humble
Then he
life,
killed Julio Furio.
righteous
Now
life.
y'all
You know,
believe
try
this
to do the right
dude?
things
When he
at
said
all
on the
times.
stand, let that brother found
You
not
apprise
guilty.
yourself. We've heard
That brother
about
been
some
back with the dudes,
courses
throwing up
and
gang
programs
signs,
and things that
party,
you can get involved with to
showing
stay
down Julio,
busy in
dissing people
prison.
and
Is that
stuff.
something that you
We're not
plan
going
to
for
do?
that.
Yeah, so
He
I,
guilty.
Hearing Raul's testimony was, you know, the first glimpse that I have of, you know, what prison it could be like. You know, I want to stay as busy as possible, you know, stay away from bad apples. You know, I want to, like, keep a
You're not
job,
gonna stay away from bad apples. You're gonna
get
need
into
the gang in
programs, try to get
prison.
into any
Ain't no way
vocational
you're gonna
things
stay
I
away
can
from
do.
bad apples.
Try to, you know, keep my
You
record
go
clean to,
about a
you
year
know,
ago,
go
y'all
to
gonna
the
see about
best
Sean Gaspar how he
incentivized
posting
things,
all kind of
have
money,
visits with my
all
family.
kind of
And,
drugs. Y'all
you know,
gonna
I
see.
just
Y'all
want
gonna
to
see why. Y'all gonna see. Y'all gonna
just
see what I'm saying. Why?
stay out the way, you know, I just want to make everything, you know, peaceful as can be.
So even knowing that you're not getting out of prison, you want to make the best of your stay there.
Of course. I mean, who wouldn't? If you're going to be somewhere for the rest of your life, why would you make your life a living hell?
And you're young, right? You're 20.
Yes, ma'am.
Your Honor, may I have a moment?
Yes,
I'll pass the witness.
okay, stay.
You would agree with me that Charles Jones was young too, wasn't he?
Relatively young, yes, sir.
26, right?
Yes, sir.
That's what the evidence showed us, correct? You were sitting here watching that, correct? The evidence that came in over the last several weeks?
I was right there.
Yeah. And you want to take accountability now, correct? You want to take accountability now that this jury has found you guilty, correct?
Thank you.
Yes, sir.
Weeks
That's what
after
we
we
say.
went through a trial. Is that your testimony?
Objection, Your Honor.
I'm gonna sustain the objection.
You indicated this was a traumatic experience. Is that right?
Yes, sir.
That's what you just testified to, correct?
That's what I said.
EVE Online is a vast universe, alive with the unrelenting activity.
I feel the DA saying it's too late for him to feel sorry. You should have felt sorry when you hunt that man down like a fucking deer and y'all killed that man. Y'all, you look at all on your iPhone where that man was living, where that man Airbnb was at. You even put your sister in
Please have
jeopardy.
one moment, Your Honor.
You put your ex-girlfriend in jeopardy. So you don't feel sorry. Nah, you feel sorry because you were found guilty and you young. And you hate the fact that you found guilty. So it's what? Your accountability. You hate accountability. That's all it is. You hate accountability. I'm just saying, I just see what I see in that boy. That boy feels fucking sorry. He did what he wanted to do. He tried to kill that man about 2 years ago. He tried to kill him when he was 16.
25C. You remember Gino Norris?
Yes, sir.
You remember him? He was also really young when this happened, wasn't he?
I didn't know how old he was.
Early 20s, 22. Would that surprise you?
No, it wouldn't surprise me.
Yeah. Gino Norris, who's not a gang member, who's Charles Jones' friend from the time they're children.
That's the legal basis. Okay, come on up, counsel.
Yo,
Were they all in the car with Julio?
So this is what I understand. These white people don't give a fuck about this black boy. I'm sorry to tell you. The lawyer getting paid, the DA getting paid, and the judge getting paid. Now they all in the huddle to see should we let this you know what I want to say die. See how the world go, y'all? You don't see no black judge, you don't see no black lawyer, you see all white lawyers. And he crying to them for him to live. Come on now. Y'all out there doing problems, y'all doing killing and murdering and deceiving and deception. Y'all need to stop. Because they're not playing with y'all.
26C, Xavier Edwards. 25C, Gino Norris. And you saw the autopsy photos of Charles Jones. My question to you is, after you and your friends inflicted that carnage on June 23rd, and as you were running states 2059C, this is actually you running to shoot them, but when you were running back past that Tesla, were you feeling a lot of trauma at that point?
He was happy. Watch.
It was so long ago, I try to not remember anything from that night.
Boy, you a motherfucking lie. Just get my name. You is lying.
Your hands?
Like I said, I try to remember nothing from that night.
Was it traumatic to you as you went back to the car with that AR-15? Was it still smoking? Was it still warm in your hands from firing it?
Thank you. Oh, look at the judge, nigga. Answer the question.
Were you feeling remorse as you were getting back into the Impala?
Like I said, I just try to focus on today. And
why are you trying to focus on today? Somebody lost their life.
So the next day,
you should have said you were remorse, dummy.
That Impala, that was your car. You drove that around, right? It was your mom's, but you drove that car, correct?
Yes, sir. It was my mother's car.
Right. And that was the car you drove from Jacksonville to Tampa in, correct?
Yeah, I'm objecting on stuff.
I'm working to a point, Your Honor.
Okay, why don't we just get there?
All right. So this car, this Impala that you drove from Jacksonville to Tampa in with Mr. Chance and Miss Andrews, the one that you drove in tandem with the Silver Cruise, the same car that you utilized to drive the assault team, the shooting team, which you were a part of that night. That same car that you drove around Tampa in the early morning hours for several hours, tracking, stalking, and hunting Charles Jones and his entourage.
Sustained.
That same Impala, you drove that to Polk County the next day, and you dropped it at your grandmother's house, right? The same grandmother who came in here last night and testified for you, correct?
Overall, go ahead. You can answer that question.
Isn't that correct?
What is the question?
You dropped the Impala, the one that had all of these shooters in it, the one that was utilized in this murder, that was such a vital cog in this plan. You dropped it at your grandmother's house in Auburndale, didn't you?
I'm here to testify about today.
Are you going to answer that question, or are you?
Bro, you got to answer the question. You dropped the car to your grandma.
To try to hide. I think we all understand what you're here to do today, what you're testifying about. I'm asking you.
See, you a sneaky ass pussy.
About your remorse.
Excuse my language. You sneaky.
When you dropped that car,
and you got caught up, and you hate to get caught up
in Auburndale.
I did go to my grandmother's house.
Were you feeling remorse when you hugged her and got into the 4Runner and left her with the Impala after you wiped it down?
Sir, I'm just telling you that today I would like to express my remorse to the family and to the court.
I understand what you're trying to do today. I'm asking you, since you're trying to convince this jury that you're remorseful, were you feeling remorse that next day or later that day?
I don't remember these days in detail, how I was feeling, what I was thinking.
What about later that night when you went to Orlando? Were you feeling remorse when you were out partying at Club Parlay, celebrating what you'd done that day?
You're only 18, so
that was my
drinking.
sister's birthday party.
What did you feel any remorse while you were drinking Don Julio tequila?
Thank you.
And putting that in your video and throwing gang signs?
Nope.
I'm here to testify about today, sir.
Bruh, answer the
we've all
question.
seen
The
the
jury
evidence.
watching
We've all
you.
reviewed.
You don't want to answer the
everything that's
question
been-
because you
It's
feel
not
guilty.
time for you now to
Thank
make
you.
speeches. You've politely answered your counsel's questions. Can you not answer the state's questions? Is there something about my question you don't understand?
He
I was
hate
getting to
that.
I'm
it. I
sorry,
was getting
I'm sorry,
to it.
Mr. Gafford. I called you Mr. Chance. Excuse me.
I was getting to my answer.
No, you wasn't.
Like I said, I've seen all the evidence.
Well, we've all seen all the evidence.
You found
Yes, sir.
guilty. You
That's
shoot.
true.
And after all that evidence came in and this jury based their true verdict on that, convicting you, now you're taking accountability? Is that
Thank you.
Sustain the
Stop looking at the
objection. I think
judge.
The question on the table was remorse about interim.
It is, Your Honor.
You just need to answer that question.
So I'm going to ask you very specifically, okay? So try to focus with a laser beam here, Mr. Gaffright. Were you feeling remorse
Try to
when
focus
you were
the
in
laser
Club
beam. You
Harley
already
in
said
Orlando drinking
he
Don
put riddles
Julio?
in his
Were you
name.
feeling remorse for what you did earlier that day?
I don't remember how I was feeling or what I was thinking.
Were you
You
feeling
just said
remorse
you were
when you
happy
got
with
pulled
your
over in the
sister birthday.
Forerunner a couple of days later by the police?
I don't remember. I was nervous. I mean, I had never been involved in any
Were you
police
feeling
matter.
remorse when you were unloading the Impala and putting all
Come
of that
on,
evidence
man.
into
This
the
boy,
Forerunner?
this boy
Did you
crazy.
feel remorse?
I see why
So
they
I
use
told
his
you I don't
ass.
remember
I see
how I
why
was
they.
feeling or what I was thinking in those days.
How you don't?
C-Dance 2.0 is now on Artlist, and you can get precisely what you want.
I'll take a robbery with a fight scene on the side.
It's a robbery!
And if you have it, I'd like the robbers to be Yakuza.
It's a robbery!
For the main character, an anti-hero.
Wonderful grandmothers, correct?
Yes, sir.
You would agree with me, right?
I couldn't deny that.
One of which probably, I'm assuming, sacrificed and paid for you to go to that private school, that preparatory school, correct?
It wasn't paid. It was a magnet program, so I had to apply, and it was a lottery system.
It was a lottery.
But she
system.
still
Okay, so-
sacrificed,
All
bro.
right.
See,
She supported
hate
you
to-
going there, did she not?
bro.
Everybody did.
Gave you open use.
But
of
you
the
need
house,
to respect your
welcomed
grandma.
you,
He said
treated
your
you,
grandma.
and
They do, yeah.
parented you basically, didn't she?
Yes, sir.
Took care of you when your parents were deployed, correct?
Yes, sir. At the time, I was living with my grandmother. Both of my parents had been either retired or out of the military. I was just living there more so. I needed a change of scenery, and my relationship with my father wasn't sustainable.
Okay. This is when you're in Oxford with your grandmother.
Yes, sir.
The nice lady we saw earlier came in here.
Yes, sir.
The one that has supported you and spoke so lovingly about you, correct?
Yes, sir.
And so you went to this preparatory school, and whether you got in there through a lottery or not, you would agree with me, not everybody gets to go to a school like that, correct?
The lottery school the magnet school I went to was in middle school when I was living in Jacksonville. The school I went to in Oxford was just a public high school.
A public high school.
Yes,
Okay, my mistake. So you went to that preparatory school in Jacksonville.
Yes, sir.
But again, that school was not something that every kid gets to go to, right?
Oh, sir.
Not every kid gets to have a counselor and a role model like Mr. Edwards, correct?
No, sir. I was very blessed.
And not many children get to fly in planes with their stepfather, correct?
No, sir.
And fly around in Asia and get to see islands off the coast of Okinawa, correct?
No, sir. I was
You go on
very
camp-
blessed.
Damn,
Very-
boy,
you
you
are
had a
very
good
blessed,
life.
aren't you?
Yes, sir.
His dad
And
is a
Not every
pilot.
kid gets to go to Scotland, right?
No, sir.
You went
Or
to
Ireland.
Scotland.
No, sir.
Or Paris,
No, sir.
or London,
No, sir.
or Spain,
No, sir.
Cape Town, or Johannesburg, or
Uh,
both in South Africa.
Cape Town.
Cape Town, beautiful city, right? You got to go experience that when you were growing up, correct?
I did.
Because you had such loving people around you supporting you, correct?
Yes, sir.
In fact, your grandmother went with you on that trip, did she not? Or not on that one, but on the ones to
Several
Europe,
trips.
correct?
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
And we heard you got to meet up with your sister in one of those trips, correct?
I did. I had the privilege.
So you always had someone there taking care of you, and you always had good, strong male role models, including people at your grandmother's church and your stepfather, Mr. Harris.
I'm sorry. After hearing Sean's story, y'all, I
had,
feel sorry for him because he had a good life.
Male role
I
models
thought
in
that
my
he
life
just
growing
being
up.
hard-headed and stubborn and
But in my
spoiled. This
more
dude had a
formative
good life.
years,
He
more
did. I'm
so
sorry, y'all,
16
but
to 18,
he did what he
I
did,
did not have a
and he
relationship
can't
with
take
my
it
father.
back.
The male role models that came and testified, they were present, but not intimately as whenever I was younger, maybe middle school years. But when I turned around 16 to 18, it was the females that actually had that caregiving and, you know, nurturing relationship with me. But
Thank you for clarifying that. I appreciate it.
yes,
So,
sir. Towards the more recent years,
Mhm.
I didn't have that one-on-one and very close relationship.
Now he got the DA feeling sorry for.
Those
It's all
male
he's
role
trying
models
to
in
do
my
is
life.
a
I
manipulate.
heard my stepfather say, you know, after the divorce,
Manipulation. He manipulated
I
the
did
DA.
hear that, Mr. Chance.
He ain't
Let me
feeling
stop
sorry
you,
for
okay,
him.
and we'll go back to my question. I'm sorry.
Mr. Gathright.
I'm sorry. I keep calling you that, Mr. Daffrey. Let me go back to what you said
That's
earlier.
Julio, mom. I believe
Between
it's
16
mama
and
Julio.
18,
That's me. It's
you didn't
Julio,
have a male
mom.
role model? Is that what you're telling the jury?
I'm not saying I didn't have
It's
any
Julio,
male role
mom.
models, but
It's
day to
Julio,
day,
mom. I
you know,
believe.
young men need strong.
That's not what I
influence.
asked. I asked if you had a male role model between 16 and 18.
I had a figure that I could go to, but not intimately.
Mr. Edwards, right?
Yes, sir.
He had stayed in contact with you even when you graduated into high school, correct?
Yes, sir. We definitely maintained a relationship, but
And he
it
seemed to
wasn't.
be pretty enthusiastic about that, right?
Yes, sir.
In
Yes.
fact, you went on a cruise with him at some point, did you not?
Yeah, when I was younger. Yes.
Wow.
We had a very close relationship.
And then from what you're saying, if I understand it right, the females, I'm assuming you're talking about your grandmothers and your mom stepped into the gap?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. It was grandmother's, mother's, sister.
So let me see if I got this right. When you were being brought up, and you were being brought up by a mother who was enlisted or an officer in the military, an officer, wasn't she?
I don't know exactly what her rank is. I know she was a sergeant.
But in the Marine Corps.
Yes, sir. She was in the Marine Corps.
All right. And then you had a stepfather who was in the Air Force, right?
Yeah, he was.
From the time you were 3 all the way up to when they divorced in 2020.
Yes, sir.
All right. They taught you right from wrong, correct?
Yes, sir.
And we
Of
heard
course.
that from your
Yes, sir.
grandmother,
Yes, sir.
right?
Yeah. Of course. Yes, sir.
Miss Lyle. She told us the same thing.
Right.
They brought you up in the church. They taught you about the 10 Commandments. They taught you about right from wrong. Did they not?
They did.
All right. And
Let me say why. God should not steal. God should not what? Kill.
Living your life in a disciplined, honest, and right way, correct? And being law-abiding, correct?
They really didn't have to worry about me. You know,
Well, let me just answer my question. Would you agree with what I'm telling you? That they were excellent role models of how to live a moral life?
Yes, sir. They definitely instilled the foundation.
Picked a great name, but your voice doesn't quite match it?
We have a fix.
VoiceMod gives you over 150 lag-free, real-time voice changers and unlimited soundboards. Whether you want to speak with...
May I have one moment, Your Honor? Yes. I have nothing else, Your Honor.
Okay, be ready.
Sean, you was a nice young man. You met your life, but you were traveling with your stepdad all over the world. You went to London. You went to you went all over. You went to Thailand. You went all over. What made you go there? You want to move from your grandma and move with your mama to Jacksonville during the game. That was your come on.
Where you had lived, we heard about Mississippi, and was Jacksonville different than where you had lived previously?
Jacksonville was unlike any other city that I've lived in or visited or any other country. The cultures, the neighborhoods, the people, it's completely different.
And how old were you when you kind of started experiencing that culture shock?
So when I moved to Jacksonville, I was about 9 or 10 years old. You know, I didn't really know much about what the streets were, quote unquote, the streets were. It was more whenever I got to high school and I wanted to leave the magnet school that I was at. I wanted to be at more of a neighborhood school to be around the people I grew up with, because at the magnet school is just 30, 45 minutes away. I, you know, didn't really know anybody. I wasn't as close as the people who I grew up with. So around high school, that's when I started hearing about, you know, and seeing, you know, the different things like, you know, the drugs and people dying and, you know, stuff like that. And then I was caught completely off guard, but I was curious, like, what is this, you know, and listening to the music, like I was just like caught off guard. Like I'd never experienced something like that, especially living in Japan and, you know, living in different states around the world. I mean, or in the country.
The boy been living in
Have
Japan.
what Jacksonville had.
We've heard from a lot of people that knew you, and I think it's been a pretty consistent theme that you were mature and you know, smart and interested in things. But you were still what? How old around that time?
I was 14, 15. You know, definitely would consider myself to be smart and, you know, mature for my age, but
Still curious?
I was still a young boy. You know, I still am a young man.
You think you were kind of impressionable?
I would characterize myself as, you know, at times being naive, gullible, impressionable, and yeah.
And so despite that upbringing, are you finding yourself, you know, you're in a different culture now, but you still want to be as successful as you can?
Yeah, so being in the jail, you know, I'm by myself, especially in a city so far away. I don't know anybody, so I took this time to focus back in on myself and just get back to the basics, you know, what I know, you know, and without anybody being in my ear or influencing me, you know, I've cut out the noise. You know, there's not many distractions in jail, you know, it's the same thing every day. So I started to work out and, you know, programs, try to educate myself more, plan, you know, stuff like that.
Just hearing that boy voice, you could tell he fucked up.
Everybody
I mean, like,
asks themselves, or everybody asks God for
it's
things,
sorrow,
you know,
bro.
what we want,
Young kids, look
what
at
we
this.
want
This
God
is
to do for
sorrow.
us.
This
But a
like
lot of the times we don't ask what God wants from us.
he should
And so I've
rebuke.
asked God
Poor
that
thing.
question, you know, what do you want from me? You know, I'm asking all these things from you. What do you want from me? And he told me that he's calling me, like, I feel like my
They
calling, or what
like
he told me, was to be there for the youth, serve the youth, keep them from going down similar paths, because there's a better way. And the streets is not the way. The streets are not the way.
Even having everything, trips
not
and
the way,
privilege
y'all.
and church and grandmas, and you still can find yourself going down a wrong path, right?
Objection, leading.
Same.
And you feel that that's your calling?
Yes, I want.
Objection, non-responsive.
Well, I think it's more asked and answered, but you can go ahead and answer. Just yes or no. Just answer yes or no.
Um,
Do you
what
feel
was-
that you're calling?
Just what you were describing.
Yes, I do.
Um,
I would like to.
Well,
Objection,
no.
I'm sorry.
Yeah,
Okay.
no. You just gotta wait for a question, okay, Mr. Gathright?
Yes, ma'am.
So you thought it was the game and you fucked around and found out.
All right, members of the jury. I'm gonna
That's
have you
all I
step
can
in
see.
2 minutes quick, and then we will return. All right, you may proceed.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Y'all, this the inner Sean Gathright testifying for his death penalty trial. So we're going to his sister tomorrow. Hey, y'all, please hit the like and subscribe. Thank y'all.